right, guys, listen up. I need workers, all right? I don't give a damn if they've done it before or not. If they can stand up and they can pick, I want you to get them for me.
You're early.
You got the money?
Yes.
Manual labor, sex trafficking.
It's a crisis.
How old are you? 18? 17?
Is there anything we should do? It's all about seeing the science.
Michael, did you ever imagine that the timeliness of this season back when you started producing it, just in terms of the immigration stuff specifically?
I think when we started, John and I first started talking about this, which is about 18 months ago, you know, the election was just starting to go into swing. It was a conversation that people were having about immigration and labor and the disparity in our country. And I think for us, the shock is that, you know, the other side won, you know, to reveal that. But now I think it is. I had hoped that it wouldn't have been as relevant it is right now. I had hoped that when we started this conversation that we would move towards a direction where we could make some changes. And I think, unfortunately, we've moved in the opposite direction as a country. So I'm proud that ABC is willing to put this out there and start this conversation in a way that is really relevant right now.
The approach was all about respect and integrity for the people that we were representing. We wanted to respect the farms, the farm workers, the environment that we were portraying, and bring a truthfulness to the character. My character was coming from the outside, so he himself was exploring this new world while he was trying to find his son. Within that story, you know, there's where you find the hardship of the immigrant story and the movement and everything else. So I always wanted to have a healthy, clear mind that I wasn't doing something political. I was trying to do something more of a, for lack of a better word, more spiritual and just be about this guy. An interesting thing started happening as we were going from episode to episode. We all were coming back with stories about, now when I sit down to eat, I wonder, where did this tomato come from? Where did this piece of lettuce come from? We ourselves were waking up to the thing we were talking about.
I'm curious, how much input or in collaboration is there on the characters? And Michael, maybe you can weigh in on this. Or do you just trust and say, I'll play whatever you want? Or is there a conversation like, I'd really like something a little different?
For me, it was just everything coming from an honest place. And we have a conversation with John early on, and he gives us some broad strokes of who he's looking at us playing. And we respond and we have a bit of input, and from that conversation they take that back to the writer's room, and this is what you get. Pretty awesome.
And as an actor, is it more challenging to give a performance when you're also thinking on top of it of nailing an accent?
Well, yes. I mean, you have to make whatever you're doing be habitual, because you can really only think about one thing when you're acting, which is what's going on in the other person.
Michael, the structure of this season is different than in past seasons in that there's not one big crime. There's many crimes, some subtle, some not so much. Talk to me about the decision to sort of have the season sort of roll out that way.
Well, John is, you know, a brilliant mind, and he, you know, wanted to look at the crime of forced labor as a crime. And I think one of the things that we wanted to look at is, instead of just having one crime and rippling through, we wanted to take one community and look at how one type of crime ripples through that community. So it is still an American crime, but it's a type of crime within a community and how that affects the entire thing.